The community of St. Michael's Parish in Imo State was a vibrant and close-knit one. The parishioners were known for their kindness, generosity, and strong faith. At the heart of this community was Reverend Father Bannard, a kind and respected priest. He was loved by everyone in the community for his good deeds and selfless service. Reverend Father Bannard worked tirelessly to improve the lives of the people in his parish. He built schools, hospitals, and roads, and provided food and shelter for the poor. He also organized programs to empower the youth and promote peace and unity in the community. The people of Imo State were grateful for Reverend Father Bannard's efforts, and they showed their appreciation in many ways. They would often come to the parish to thank him and pray with him. One day, the governor of Imo State visited the parish to thank Reverend Father Bannard for his contributions to the state. The governor praised Reverend Father Bannard for his hard work and dedication, and he promised to support his projects. Reverend Father Bannard was humbled by the governor's praise, and he continued to work hard for the benefit of his parish and the state. He was a true servant of God and a blessing to his community. Reverend Father Bannard was a good man, but he had one big weakness: his temper. When he got angry, it was like a storm had erupted. His face would turn red, his voice would boom, and his eyes would flash with fury. The community was afraid of Reverend Father Bannard's anger. They would keep their distance when he was upset, not wanting to get on the receiving end of his wrath. Sometimes the community would doubt if Reverend Father Bannard was truly called by God. How can a man of God have such a bad temper, they would ask. Despite his good works, Reverend Father Bannard's anger issues made people question his character. They would whisper to each other, "Is he really a man of God? Or is he just a man with a bad temper?" Reverend Father Bannard knew about his weakness, and he was trying to work on it. But it was hard, and sometimes he felt like he was failing. He would pray to God to help him control his temper, but it seemed like the more he prayed, the more he struggled. One Sunday morning, Reverend Father Bannard was on his way to preach at the church. As he walked, a little boy, covered in dirt from playing in the mud, ran up to him and hugged his legs. But instead of kindness, Reverend Father Bannard's hunger and frustration got the better of him. He shouted at the boy and, in a moment of anger, gave him a hard knock on the head. The boy cried out in pain and shock, and the dirt from his clothes stained Reverend Father Bannard's white garment. The priest immediately regretted his actions, but it was too late. The damage was done. After the incident, Reverend Father Bannard went home, feeling ashamed and guilty. He realized that his anger had gotten the better of him once again. He fell to his knees and prayed, asking God to help him work on his weakness and to forgive him for his mistakes. Just a week after the incident with the little boy, another shocking event occurred. During a heated argument with a parishioner, Reverend Father Bannard lost his temper again. This time, he slammed his fist on the altar, causing the sacred vessels to fall to the ground. The congregation gasped in shock and horror. Some people cried out, while others whispered to each other, "How can a man of God behave like this?" The incident sparked a lot of gossip and speculation in the community, with some people even calling for Reverend Father Bannard's removal as their priest. Reverend Father Bannard's anger and frustration had been simmering for weeks. He felt unappreciated and misunderstood by the community he had served for so long. The final straw came when a group of rowdy young boys played football near his window, disturbing his much-needed nap. He stormed out of his house, his face red with rage, and warned the boys to leave. But they just laughed and continued playing, oblivious to the danger lurking beneath the priest's surface. Something snapped inside Reverend Father Bannard. He rushed back into his house, grabbed his gun, and shot one of the boys dead. The others fled in terror, screaming and crying as they ran. As the reality of his actions sunk in, Reverend Father Bannard was consumed by horror and grief. He fell to his knees, overcome with remorse, and begged for forgiveness. But it was too late. The angry youths of the community, fueled by outrage and a desire for justice, stormed Reverend Father Bannard's house. They dragged him out, stoning him to death as he pleaded for mercy. The community was left reeling in shock, struggling to comprehend the tragic events that had unfolded. They mourned the loss of the young boy and reflected on the downfall of Reverend Father Bannard, a man who had once brought them hope and joy. His weakness had ultimately led to his demise, leaving behind a trail of destruction and heartbreak.